Hi, my name is Rusty and this is my 2009 Infiniti G37. You might be wondering why my clock is blue. Well, I can tell you. Just want to let you know this video is how I fixed the clock and also how I added delay to my cigarette lighter. So I had the issue with my camera, like a road register that goes on top of your windshield windscreen. So I added delay because each time the car would start, it would draw the power more towards the starter, and the camera did not have enough power to start, and then I would have to unplug it and plug it back in from the cigarette lighter. So what I did was just added little delay, which I can show you at the same time with this clock fix. And here's to demonstrate that. So starting the car and couple seconds and delay. Okay, now the camera is powered and it works fine. So you might ask why I'm doing this video after I already fixed this situation here, and I can tell you that I'm not sure if you can see that on the video, but just want to make sure you don't have that situation when you put it back together. So as you can see, it's 6 o'clock. So the small arm is supposed to show exactly at 6, but instead it shows a little bit to the 5. So I pretty much didn't align those arms when I put it back together, and now each time there's like, let's say 7 o'clock or 8, it would still be to the 1 o'clock, back to the counterclockwise, little bit slightly, which is not a big deal, but I like everything to be perfect, so I'm just gonna take it apart and do this video at the same time. And before you're starting to put your car apart, just go to eBay or something and buy those small LEDs. As you can see, they don't have to be this size, they can be a little smaller, as long as you don't get anything, let me zoom it up a little bit, anything bigger than this, because I mean you can still fit it there, but it's gonna be more of a hassle, and you're probably gonna need 2 of those. Okay, so let's take things apart. So first what you're gonna do is pull this little boot down. It's pretty simple, and there's a small pin that goes in there, which you can use pretty much pliers to pull it out. And it looks like that, so you're just gonna go back just like this up, so make sure you remember that. Now you're just gonna take this off. It just slips off that easily. Now what you're gonna do is pull this down a little bit. Now reach your fingers underneath and just pull it towards yourself, so the whole thing is gonna just go up, pop up. That's pretty easy. I'm gonna take this out. So now you're gonna have to push this and put the car in a neutral. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start it, or in drive, doesn't matter. So once you put it on a shift, you're just gonna have enough room to wiggle it down and take this whole thing out. So now that we got it out, I can show you how I did the delay for that cigarette lighter. As you can see underneath here, there's a cigarette lighter, which is the interior side of it. There's a black and yellow wire that goes, which is positive and negative. Black obviously negative, and I just cut those off, those wires, and just add like a module which is on eBay, and I can add a link, or Amazon. And what it does is you can adjust with the little screw here how much time you want. So I added 5 seconds in order for my car to start, then I can use the cigarette lighter. So after you get rid of that, there's only 2 screws right now that's holding this little console on the front. Let's turn off the light to make sure. Okay, so we got 2 screws here on each side, which one goes here and another goes here. So it's gonna take them out. Okay, so screws are out, and this thing just pretty much you pull forward and just goes down. There is a couple things to disconnect here, which is pretty straightforward, starting with this airbag wire. I didn't have to disconnect my battery or anything, and nothing happened, so you just use your own judgment on that. So once it's out, there are a bunch of screws on the back in order to get the clock loose, and there is no shortcuts or anything around this, so you gotta get all these screws out, and they're all kind of different size, so you gotta remember there's 3 different sizes here, so you gotta kind of remember which ones go where, otherwise you're gonna have to do some guessing when you put it back. So once you take off all the back screws, this part, the faceplate, separates pretty easily, and then the clock is still there. So what you have to do is use like a flat Phillips screwdriver, and there are 2 tabs like on each side, on the right and left side, which you have to like push it a little bit, and then the clock is gonna just get out forward, just pop out that easy. Okay, so here's our clock, and there are 4 tabs on each side, on 2 on each, so 1, 2, and if you flip over there's 2 more. You just have to kind of pry them a little bit, and this little black cover just comes off. Okay, so once I took out the cover, those black buttons just fell out. There's still those that you adjust the clock, so the way to put it back, just have this little cover upside down, and just pretty much each one goes on its side. You can just use the left one to the right one, or other way around. It has to go like one there per each side pretty much. So I gotta put those back. And this screen, there's a glass screen inside, which you don't have to bother. You can just put this aside. So what we got here, pretty much there are 2 arms. Before you take this apart, and if you're gonna of course need some soldering skills maybe, to put some LED lights here, which is very easy actually. I've seen people do like screw 2 holes on the back and then feed LED bulbs through it, and then just connect it, tap in any light or any wire you have available once your lights go on. But I think the better way, which the way I did it, would be to actually solder 2 LED bulbs on the back. So as you can see on each side, on this side and on the other side, there were 2 bulbs. Let me zoom this up, and what happened was those bulbs are LED, and they have little rubber, um, pretty much like a housing on the top, and moisture got in and they stopped working. Each time I would push the LED bulb, it would work, but then when you release it, it stopped. So I realized there was not solder issue, it was more of a actual LED went out. So what I did is just use a regular solder iron, and just pretty much heat up. There's 4 leads to each bulb, so you heat up each side and just throw them out. You're not gonna need those. In my case, I used blue bulbs. You can use any color you like, and you can use like the ones I showed you, which has like 2 leads to it instead of 4. The reason for that is because you can actually check with the multimeter. The 3 of those leads that go to the original bulb are like negative, and just 1 lead is positive. So I mean, you can use any of those 3 and just solder those back together, like to the actual main board, and that's pretty straightforward. There's enough room to work here, but before you do that, you're gonna have to take out this little cover, this whole little assy with the arms. So in order to get the arms off, all you have to do is use like a little screwdriver or something to make sure you don't scratch the clock. Then just pry the minutes arm off, and then once you get that one off, like slowly on each side, you gotta pry them, or use your fingernails if that works, and then do the hours arm. So just get those both off and you should be fine. Another thing, if you once you get those arms off, there are 2 clips on each side that are you can reach them from the back side with the Phillips screwdriver. They're on both sides, and in order to get this little top block background piece, you're just gonna have to use those clips, or you can do from front. Here you can access them from either way. So once you get that out, you can have enough working room for those LEDs to just solder the other ones. And once you do it, the way I got this nice even light on whole clock is to turn them, you know, like towards the middle of the clock, so they're facing the like they're pretty much lighting exactly towards the middle, which is where the arms connect. So both of them are facing that way, and the original were facing towards me pretty much at this point. And but the ones I put in here are too big, so there's no way they could fit without bending them towards the middle. And as you've seen, they looked very nice, and actually they are dimmable with the rest of the panel. So I'm just gonna align those arms since I had that issue with them being not aligned. And once I do that, I'm just gonna put it back together just the way I took it apart. And just don't forget to align those arms. So I think the best way to do it is to put you can pretty much like use your finger to, you know, maneuver it anywhere you want. At this point it's disconnected, so you cannot use those buttons here. And just make sure to point both of those arms or arrows, whatever you want to call them, to like 12 o'clock at the same time. So once they turn, you know, then it's going to be, you know, pointing at the right number. Okay, thanks for watching. Again, this is Ross, and be sure to subscribe, and I might have more videos about Infiniti or any other car. Thank you. Bye-bye.